Hi, B2B campaigns built around a single tactic that either flies or flops make one hero for every 99 zeros. A B2B marketing campaign should be complete, that is end to end, and it should be optimised over time. Let me show you 7 steps. I'll show you 5 great articles that between them review about 20 B2B marketing campaigns. Build out the whole campaign, end to end, from name to close deal. Build out a campaign for each of your major sources, like inbound and outbound, and I'll show you more of that inside today's show. Build a hypothesis, or in English, work out what you think it's going to take to move a buyer through each stage in the buyer's journey. Build the best execution that you can afford for each of those progressions for each campaign. Optimise the campaigns over time. Share tactics between the campaigns where you can and use humour, creativity, personality, amazing execution to optimise throughput, but not to win awards. Well, let me show you those 5 articles now. Then I'll summarise what I think we learned from those 5 articles, and then I'll argue why I think we're looking at this completely the wrong way around. Our first article's from Ashley Taylor Anderson, and she did a super job. This is a really well constructed article, lots of great B2B examples, entertaining and beautifully produced tactics, but they're not campaigns. The examples that we're using here are great tactical execution. It's not a campaign. Now, again, well told, but not a campaign. Or the examples, excuse me, are not campaigns. Second is from Matt Kleinschmidt. And again, it's another article, like the first one, that argues that B2B doesn't have to be dull. I didn't know it was dull. The issue is more that most of B2B is invisible because most of us are not the targets of a super narrow niche campaign. I mean, even IBM target really narrow. The CIOs of top 1,000 companies globally. That's a pretty small audience. Also, this set of articles is not really campaigns, but great single tactics. Even if they do make a really good case for humour and clever creative. Third article is from Ekaterina Walter. Again, really well put together, another really good one. But oh dear, there's a pattern here. B2B marketing doesn't have to be boring. I didn't know it was boring. Who's saying it's boring? Anyhow, so they seem to be sort of on this, well, 3 sources seem to be on the same bandwagon that it doesn't have to be boring. Now, it's a great collection of ads and they are funny, clever, really, really good. But again, they're not campaigns. They're single tactics. For all that done beautifully, the tactics, not a campaign. Now, finally, we get to one that is a campaign from our friends at eConsultancy. Ben Davis, good job, sir. These campaigns are actually campaigns. They're a string of activities, not a single activity. A campaign is a sustained set of tactics, not a single one. Now, these examples are all, if you read them, they're a little less exciting than the others, but they're really, really well put together and they're good examples of good campaigns. So well done, eConsultancy, and Ben, thank you. And the final one I've got on the list because it was shared lots of times, but it sort of backs off a little bit from the momentum that we were building there, in that it is kind of about single tactics. There's a little bit of strategy in here, but really, not really. So some creative execution, but it's not so much about a B2B marketing campaign. So I'm going to argue why we're looking at this the wrong way shortly, but let me first respect what those 5 authors all seem to be arguing. B2B doesn't have to be boring. Have fun, show some personality, have a big budget and execute creatively. Well, all of that's great advice, and I found all 5 of those articles to be well researched and well constructed. Really, really good articles. But I've got two problems. Firstly, a campaign is not a tactic. A tactic is one thing you do to your buyer. A campaign is a string of tactics that you execute over a sustained period of time. That's a campaign. The second issue is that B2B marketing campaigns need rhythm, and they need rhythm predominantly for two reasons. So that you can have effect over time, tell the message often, don't tell it once really well, tell it lots of times as well as you can. And second reason we need rhythm is to improve the execution so that we can optimise our campaign over time and get better results over time. Build out the whole campaign from name to closed deal, not just a part of the campaign. And then build out a campaign for each of your major sources because it's going to look different. Think about referrals, inbound, outbound at volume, and outbound for your very special prospects. Build a hypothesis, in other words, work out what you think it's going to take to move a buyer through each stage in the buyer's journey, and then build the best execution that you can afford for each progression in the buyer's journey for each campaign. Optimise the campaigns over time. So build campaigns that will last so that you can optimise them, and A/B test every progression to inform your optimisations, and then lock in the validated learnings. Share tactics between campaigns where possible, and finally step 7, then and only then do step 7, which is what the articles are largely arguing. Use humour, creativity, personality, and amazing execution, but to optimise throughput, please, not to win awards. So, get sales and marketing together and build out your funnel plan. Build the tactics out end to end in your funnel plan. And build out different campaigns for each of your major sources because you are going to use different tactics. And that's what the tags are for in a funnel plan. An example of a set of tactics color-coded so that you can see that the campaigns can be clearly identified because you are going to have different tactics for things like referrals, inbound leads, outbound at volume, and outbound for your very best prospects. If you haven't got a funnel plan, here's where you can get one, funnelplan.com. Go there, grab yourself a funnel plan. Hey, I hope you got value out of that. Lots more lined up for next week. Until then, may your funnel be full and always flowing. Our thanks this week to Rose Maloney, our intern who did the research. Well done, Rose. Our contributors, all 5 of them, great articles. Even though I drew a different conclusion, loved all 5 articles. Ashley Taylor, Matt Kleinschmidt, Katrina Walter, Ben Davis and Jason Mellor, all great articles. Hannah, thank you for your amazing production week in, week out. My name's Hugh McFarlane and it's been my absolute pleasure to script and present this week's show.